Okay, so let's talk about slope. Slope is something that we're going to be working on for quite a long time. And so it's important to understand from the very beginning the basics of slope. So, just a really basic review is our coordinate plane. So, we have to know how to graph in order to find slope. And so, we've been graphing for a long time. And so, we should know how to do it. However, every now and then we need a reminder, and I get that. So let's go ahead and plot some points on this little coordinate grid that I have here. So I'm going to make just make a few here. I don't know, 2, 4, and we'll do like -1 and 5, and then maybe 0 and 3. And then we can, I don't know, let's try that. So we have, this will be point A, point B, point C. These are X's, these are Y's. Okay, so the first number in this ordered pair is going to be an X. The second number in this ordered pair is going to be a Y. And the X and the Y coordinate with our axes on the coordinate plane. So this is the X axis, this is the Y axis. And that's super important to remember, and we're going to need it for lots of reasons. But let's go ahead and plot these points. So I'm going to look at A. Another thing to remember on the X and Y thing, just because it's sometimes it can get tricky, but X comes before Y in the alphabet, and you're going to go the direction of the X axis before you do the Y. Okay, so we're going to go to 2, 4. And so here is 2 going on the X axis. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. And we're going to call that point A. And then point B is -1 and 5. So I'm going to go to -1, and then it's 5. It's a positive 5. So -1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have a 5 up there, but I know that this next one is going to be 5. So let's go ahead and put a B here. So then I'm going to make this negative just because. Let's do C, which is going to be 0 and -3. So 0 is right in the middle, and that's called the origin. It's where we actually start all the time when we graph. So I'm just going to put a little origin. Let me put a little reminder here that the origin is 0, 0. Okay, so back to that. Ordered pair of C, we're going to start at 0, and then we have a -3, which tells us we're going to go down instead of up. So I'm starting at 0, I'm going to go to -1, -2, -3, and that is going to be our point C. Okay, so that's just our graphing reminder to get us kind of in the right frame of mind. Now, let's talk about slope. What is slope? Well, we need to know that slope, let me go ahead, I can go ahead and put it down here, that slope is the steepness of, right now we're going to say steepness of a line. Okay, but it could be that it's the steepness of like a ramp, or maybe we want to see just how much we improved on something over time in our EOG scores. We might see what that slope is of that line that's spiking up because we've done so great. Then slope is the steepness of the line. It also shows the rate of change. That's what I was talking about in the like with the graph. So rate of change. So I'm sorry if that was confusing. Rate of change is going to show you like the graph, the lines that will go up and down. So the slope is the steepness of the line, and it can go up and it can go down. So it can be like a ramp, or it could be a roof. You need to know the steepness of the roof and what that's supposed to be. So there are actually a whole lot of life applications where you will where you might use slope. So Anyway, now we need to know the slope formula in order to find the slope of a line, okay? So not the main, but slope formula has a couple of different ways to look at them, okay? Rise over one, excuse me, I think I said that kind of funny. Rise over run, okay? And then this is the same thing as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so let's just look at a couple of examples. So I have to use a ruler because I'm terrible with lines. I am not a good straight line maker. But if you don't have a ruler, you can always use like the edge of a notebook or a regular book, or something like that. That might be something that would be helpful if you don't have a ruler. All right, so I have a line. One thing I want to look at is whether the line is positive or negative. Is it going up or is it going down? Okay, so we can try the pencil test. So I'll do it with my pen. But just like we read left to right, the pencil test goes left to right. And if that line is going up as we go, it's positive. If that line were to be going down as we go, we know that the slope is a negative slope, kind of like you would go down a roller coaster. That might be the slope of that particular part of a roller coaster. So in finding out what the slope is, we need to find 2 points that the line goes through. So my line right here goes through this point and this point. So I'm going to use that information. Okay, first, I'm going to make a what I call a slope triangle, right? Slope triangle. Okay, because that connects, it helps me to see the rise over run. So rise means you're going up, could mean you go down, right? Run could be negative. Okay, so I'm going to look at how far this goes up. So it goes up 1, 2. So the rise is going to be 2. I'm going to do it right here because I want to use this as my example with the rise over run. So the rise was 2, and the run to get there is 1, 2. So it was 2 also. Now, so 2 over 2, we know is the same thing as 1. Okay, so let's look at a different line. Let's see if I can be not so, I don't know, not so straight in. Doesn't have to be through the origin in order to make a straight line. That doesn't have to happen. Let me just do one here. Okay, so when I look at this, I see I have here, and I'm following this line because this is the one that we're doing. And this is another one, okay? So those are the 2 lines that I'm going to do. Because this other line is on my page and it's a little bit in my way, I'm gonna make my slope triangle going down that way. So that way I know my rise over run, that's how I'm gonna find it. So I'm gonna go up 1, 2, 3, and then, hold on, let's do rise over run. That is 3, and then over 2. Okay. So see that, and then it would be your slope is 3/2. Your slope would be it's acceptable to leave it at 3 over 2. So let's try with the formula of the y2 minus y1. And in order to do that, I'm going to go back to those dots that we put on that line in those little vertices or where it crosses perfectly on the in those corners. So This one, this first one up here would be, and now I know we have rise over run, which is X and Y. That's a little confusing sometimes when we remember that we have to actually graph X first, right? So I'm going to find this X is over here. So I'm going to go -1, -2, -3, and then I go down 1. So -3, and then 1, 2, -2. So that's going to be, let's see here. Let's do, oh, I can do it right here. We can see. That's fine. So I'm going to do -3, -2. Okay. And no. See, that's why I was going to move it. -3, -2. Okay. Then the other dot is down here, and it's -5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5, -5, -5, -5. Okay. So I'm going to do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and I'm going to substitute these numbers. So this is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. So I'm going to put in y2, which is this one over here, -5, minus y1, which is -3. Okay, over x, gotta stop me when I'm wrong. This is -5 for y2. y1 is -2. Okay, and then x2 is -5, again, minus x1, which is -3. Okay, so for us to solve that or simplify it, we have to do keep, change, change. So it stays -5, and we're going to change this to plus and change that to positive. So when the signs are different, you subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 5 minus 2 is 3, and you keep the sign of the bigger number, which happens to be -5. So we're going to keep that negative, and then we're going to come down and do the same thing. So -5 plus, and so -5 minus 3 is going to be 2, and it's negative, and negative over a negative becomes a positive, right? So that is 3 over 2, which is the same thing. This gave us this, which is the same thing as this. So our rise over run gives us the same information as the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So those are our slope formula, okay? So that is what I think I want to just give to you in our introduction to slope. So we know what slope is. It's the steepness of a line, or it might show the rate of change. And then we have our slope formula, which is rise over run. And another way of saying it is the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, using the points that are on a line. That's how we find the slope of that line. So I hope this was helpful, and I will be moving on to a little bit more into slope very soon. So thank you for watching.